Ale? Okay. Ale? Hi, France. Sorry about that. I was having network challenges. I've clarified. Yeah. I'm sorry, France. Please. I'm very, very sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I know. That's why I had said I was going to send you. That's why I was communicating with you informally. But I was having challenges with my network this side. I'm so sorry. Please, France. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. My name is Ndondolozi Ndlovu. We'll be starting the training soon. We're still waiting for our trainer to come through. I hope you can all hear me. You can type in the chat box if you can hear me, so that I see that we are together. You can type in the chat box and say hi. We can see that Muripo Mese, so that we can see that you're all there. Those that are there, you can just type in the chat box. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I can see you are still coming in. Happy to have you this training on creative online content creation. My name is Mlondolozi Ndlovu. I'm the program assistant at ZACRAS, responsible for capacity building. We'll be starting in a short space of time. I hope you are urging all those from your different community radio stations to join so that we have a fruitful engagement. And I am sure that we are all going to learn from this particular training. So as we wait for our trainer, I hope we can discuss.
Foundation.
Hi, Vivian.
Morning, colleagues. I see that we are now 17, and I think as we are waiting for other attendees to join the meeting, it will be good for us to other people, they can as well join us as we are proceeding with the training. And I've also been made to understand by the trainer that the first session of this training is basically a short practical. So we can be doing that as we're also waiting for other attendees to join in. I wish to welcome you all to this training. My name is Vivian Marara, the National Coordinator for the Zimbabwe Association of Community Radio Stations. And today we are holding this training, which is looking at creative content creation, mainly utilizing online platforms. And I'm happy to see that we have a diverse representation of our participants, both from Southern and East African countries. Welcome, comrades. It's a pleasure to have you here. If possible, kindly put a short note on the chat box indicating that you are coming from, for the sake of our records and also report writing. I will also take this time to introduce our trainer, Mr. Tapiwa Sivira, who's a digital consultant and online content creator who has worked with quite a number of media organizations here in Zimbabwe, and also even organizations outside the media, but look at community development issues here in Zimbabwe. So welcome, Mr. Sivira. Before I proceed with any other issues, I will now hand over the session to Mr. Sivira, who will be taking us through and also spearheading any other issues or questions that we might have. Mr. Sivira, over to you.
It's a pleasure to be part of this group of our content creators. As Vivian said, my name is Tapiwa Zivira, and I'm going to be taking you through this session. Please note that this is an interaction. We are all in the field, and it is a process where we both have to make the best out of the environments that we operate in. So this is not a one-way traffic, it's a two-way traffic. I'm also very keen to understand a lot about what you go through as content creators. So as Vivian said, we're going to start our session with some kind of questions to pose and get an understanding of how you guys have knowledge on online content creation. So I'll pose 3 questions that within probably 20 minutes, I would like you to go. And then when I come back for the during this session, we will then have a feedback session where you will be able to tell us what you think, and this is where we will then kickstart our conversation. So the first question is that basically, what do you understand about online content creation? And then the second question is, how do you think online platforms can help in news gathering, especially for someone working within a smaller community? And then the last one is, how do you think online platforms can help in verification of content, and how do you think you can also be able to verify content that you get online? So these questions are just that we start to get an understanding of how online content, the dynamics of online, the issues to do with the fact that online we have a lot of content that is
Sorry, Tapio, your connection appears to be breaking.
Platforms, these platforms, maybe as part of your response, talk about. Is anyone speaking? Hello.
Yes, I was saying there was a break in your connection, but I was noting down the questions as you were saying them. So I'll send on the. Hello, Tapio.
Yes, now I can hear you. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Yes, I was saying there was a break in your connection, but I noted the questions that you raised. So I've typed them in the chat box so that participants can access them, including those who will be joining in shortly.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's fine. So I think that should kickstart our session. And like I say, this is 10:24. I don't know, what do you think, Vivian? 15 to 20 minutes. What time can we then have the conversations with regards to answers to these questions?
I think that's fine. And also possibly some of the answers can even be typed into the chat box. And those who would want to do so. So colleagues, I've typed in the questions in the chat box for you to access and also refer to them. And I would kindly request that you think as broadly as you can, because presently we have quite a number of contextual challenges that we are facing globally. So if you can be broad in the responses so that we can have a fruitful interaction. Tapiwa?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me clearly?
So yeah, yes. So I think 15 to 20 minutes, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm seeing that we have 2 raised hands. Unfortunately, the users have not identified themselves by name. I'm trying to unmute you, so you also have to unmute on your side. There is 1WX40X. I think, colleagues, let's try to use our names on our gadgets so that we can easily identify each other. There are 2 hands that are raised. Unfortunately, the users are failing to unmute, I'm assuming. Yes, 1WX, you can go ahead and make a contribution. There is a comment also on our Q&A section where someone is saying there is no sound. Are you able to log out and then log in again? And somebody has said that try to press and hold the space key if using a laptop. Hello, colleagues. I've just engaged evidence so that I test the mute and unmute function. So what happens is we are trying to limit interferences. If you remember from for those who are attending, there were times when somebody else is making a contribution, there's an interference from elsewhere. And in some cases, for some other meetings that we have attended, you find that there is what is known as Zoom bombers, people who are not part of the meeting but find their way in, and then during the session they just disrupt everything. So we are trying to limit such interferences. So if you have a verbal contribution to make, you simply raise your hand and we'll unmute you and give you the floor. And I've tried it out with evidence and it works perfectly well. So if you have a contribution to make, you raise your hand, we unmute, and after your contribution, we just unmute. If you have challenges with that, you can simply also type into the chat box and then we can take it from there. But for now, please do address the 3 questions that have been raised. I note that there are contributions also coming in from the chat box. Them coming. Regarding video, there have been concerns raised by other colleagues who are located in very marginalized areas who indicated that using the video option has an impact on their data and also connectivity. So we'll be using mainly audio for the duration of the session. And yes, and here and there may be video, but we are also trying to ensure that we do not limit participation of those who have limited internet connectivity. I do hope that you understand. Thank you so much, colleagues. To those who have just joined us, welcome. We've started the training with a few questions that have been posed by the trainer, which need our responses so that we hear as an appreciation and content creation. So I have pasted the questions on the chat box so that those who have just joined us can also access the questions. For those who have just joined us, we are tackling 3 questions on what we understand on about the term online content creation. The second question is, how do you think online platforms can help in news gathering for individuals working in small communities? And the last question, how can online platforms assist in the verification of content? I'm sure that time is up and we can continue. So I'll first read out the responses on the chat platform before our trainer takes over, and also recognize hands that have been raised so that we move forward. So there's a response from Stambuli who says online content creation is the generation of programs for distribution on various online platforms such as WhatsApp. And then from Unokuphila Nkala, she says online content creation is about the creation of information using digital media for online distribution. Fairness Moyana says online content refers to content or information generated for digital distribution via internet or virtual platforms. And then a response to the second question, online platforms can help in news gathering for individuals working in small communities. Speed and time is much convenient because spreading information using online platforms is faster and it can reach more people at the same time. And then how can, on the question on how online platforms can assist in content verification, Noupila also says, okay, she also says you can verify authenticity of the content. You can as well verify with other different WhatsApp. I should also check on Facebook, Instagram, online papers, etc. Then Yaukai says, I think it refers to a process of gathering, collecting, and dissemination information of public interest. Information should focus on informing, educating, or entertaining the audience. And then online content can be created in different forms for exams, written articles, edited videos, audios, posters, flyers, billboards. He also says online content creation is no different from traditional content creation. The coming of ICT's upgraded content creation through enabling journalists to create content for a wider audience, mostly in an interactive manner. And then Wadzanai says online content creation is the generation of material or information for a specific digitally. She says online platforms break barriers to geographical reach, hence individuals can contribute information from their various locations, thereby covering a lot of ground. She or he also says they're a source of obtaining information in real time, therefore the communities can get instant access to current affairs. Online platforms enable the generation of first-hand information. It is a cost-effective way of collecting information, as individuals do not necessarily have to travel to get content. Yeah. So those are some of the responses, Mr. Trainer. I'll just copy paste so that those who have just accessed the meeting can also access the responses. So Mr. Trainer, over to you.
Okay, welcome back, colleagues. This is actually a very interesting we're not really starting from there is an exhibition of a lot of knowledge in terms of what online content creation entails. So now I would like us to start with a little bit about social media platforms, because as you have noted, as I have noted from your responses, for example, from the response by Yokai, she talks about videos, audios. Now this is the content. Now we now need to speak about the platforms. So which platforms can host your content, or which platforms can you get content from? Now, when we are talking of internet platforms, we can note that very well in Africa, just like everywhere else, there's a lot of use of social media, notably Facebook and Twitter. These are the places where there is a lot of content that you can find or that you can post. Now, as a journalist, how do you approach or as a content creator, how do you approach a platform, for example, Twitter or Facebook? The first is to go and check out who is saying what on Twitter trend. If we come to Zimbabwe right now, if you go on any timeline or any platform, you would see that people are talking probably about corruption. This is the subject that is being talked about. So that goes to the first point. I would like you to note that one. News idea. This is where you can get the news idea of what is trending, what is being talked about. If you go on Twitter today, apart from the issue of corruption, I was checking today, it's very interesting because Tafazo Mgwadi is a ZANU-PF spokesperson. He said something on Al Jazeera. So you can be able to then find out what is happening. But now, so we noted down news idea. Then after news idea, we're now talking about locality. Now, if you go on Twitter today, you're likely to see what is trending nationally. But now, because we are community platforms, and of course, we will not forget that as much as we are also community platforms, whatever happens in our community is affected or is related to what is happening nationally, internationally, and globally. So now we then go to understand what is our locality. The beauty about social media platforms these days is that when you turn on your location, it can be able to give you content that is suited to. But that is also something that will help you to just get an idea of what is happening. So now we talked about news idea. This is in the context of news gathering. So in the process of news gathering, there's the issue of then how do you look at the content and be able to say this content, how does it match to what I want to write or to broadcast, or what content do I need to produce. Now, this is where we talk about verification. So I just want to understand if someone can actually raise their hand and be able to explain to me just in a few words how they can verify content. Let's say you see something on Facebook that says a certain minister has died. How do you go about it? Do you just pick it and then put it on your platform? About in terms of verifying it, can anyone just raise their hand and maybe just give us a little bit of an explanation of how they would go about it?
Thanks. I've unmuted Nonhlanhla, and then after Nonhlanhla, we'll hear from Wadzanai. Nonhlanhla.
Okay. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you so much, Vivian and Tapiwa. I think one of the easiest and maybe logical ways of verifying content is to check, let's say like the one that Tapiwa mentioned, if you hear that a certain minister has passed on, would be to go maybe on an official Twitter handle, maybe what do you call this, Ministry of Information, or sometimes I go to ZBC. I go on ZBC's official page. And how I identify that this is the official page, it should have that little on Twitter thingy, you know, that badge on the side of the name of the handle. Then I verify if the information is on that page or if it's true. Even Facebook now has the same little bluish badge on the side of the handle to say that this is the official page. That's one of the ways I would verify if the information is authentic or not. Thank you.
Thanks, Nonhlanhla. Wadzanai.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, like Nonhlanhla said, I would also verify using other platforms to see if there are different sources speaking in the same voice, you know, speaking on the same subject. What I've also tried to do is to get people with different opinions, people that don't normally see eye to eye on certain issues, so that I get their different perspectives with regard to a Zimbabwe. You go to the government platform and you go to the opposition platform, you find what is being communicated there and what's on the other side. So that is also a way of just verifying what's going on. If something is really out there, it will appear in those and different platforms. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, colleagues. That is very interesting because both of you touched on critical issues that we're going to look at in depth, and I'm glad that this is a conversation with, and I'm also hoping that others that are listening that might not have known one or two things are also learning. So now, that is very correct. That which Nonhlanhla said in Wadzanai, that as a journalist or as a content creator who has an audience that looks up to you for credible content, you don't just pick things on social media. We'll go up into fake news a little bit in just to talk about is that the process of verifying news. What kind of ways can you use to verify news? Because let's still keep that news idea thing in mind, because we are saying Facebook or Twitter gives you a news idea. Now you see that news idea. This is died. Someone just says, "May his soul rest in peace." It's Timbermans were tweeting about Parents Shiri when he died. Uh, so the first step that you do, for example, as a journalist, before you even talk about going um, to check out what's happening, is who do you follow on Twitter? That's the question that you should pose to yourself. Who do you follow? Who do you like? Which page do you like? Now, like Nonhlanhla was saying, there are pages that have got blue badges. This shows that Facebook or Twitter is verified that indeed this person who's using this account is indeed be. For example, today if you go on Twitter and you search for Praiser, for example, you'll find 20 accounts that are with that name, but probably there will be one that has got a blue badge. But if one doesn't have a blue badge, there are other ways of checking out how a page is authentic. For example, you look at the number of followers. Secondly, you look at the nature of the content and the interaction that that person does. You can be able to have an idea. But that alone is not enough to make you understand that this what person says is authentic, because you can leave his phone with uh, uh, probably his daughter or son, and his daughter or son can just tweet something. So it's not enough. But then again, it's a starting point. So, like Nonhlanhla said, you said the person is who do you follow? Is who do you follow? If you don't, if you follow Temba Mliswa, if you follow at Edim Nangagwa, if you follow at Nelson Chamisa, you're likely to see whatever those people post on their Twitter accounts. Uh, and that will give you an idea of what is happening. For example, if you see Nelson Chamisa tweeting the end is nigh, you might just want to see what's happening in the MDC, what happens of Zimbabwe. That will give you an idea. So let's always keep the fact that on Facebook or Twitter, you go to get a news idea. But again, you can then follow up on that news. Follow. Then we go to the aspect of what are you looking for from those people. Then when you see that content, what do you do with it? Someone who's verified has tweeted something. or you said something on Facebook, you then check out what are other colleagues, like what Zanai said, what are other people that are like-minded or not like-minded, but in the same category saying. If Themba Mliswa was to tweet about Terence Kiri's death, you were likely to check out what another person in ZANU-PF or even in the MDC or another person interested in the politics of Zimbabwe who is on Twitter was saying. Now you have two people saying the same thing. But again, like Nonsalva said, often the critical point is for someone to then get a proper verification by way of a call. But I want to hazard to say this, but this is or a verified Twitter account to just post and acknowledge is according or Idimnangagwa's Twitter account is verified. If you post something, you can be able to pick it and acknowledge. But in acknowledging, always make sure that you say according to his Twitter account, because let's also remember that when we're dealing with individuals, they may change their mind and they delete the tweet. Now we're going to how to safeguard yourself. We'll also talk about issues to do with screenshotting and ensuring that the information that you are going to distribute, you have some backup that you say, I have this screenshot. And if possible, if you have an online platform that you are publishing, always put that screenshot so that people can see. Or even if you can put a link and a screenshot, such that even if they delete, people can see that this tweet was deleted, but you would have told the story as it was said. Now, we are still on who do you follow?
Sorry, Tapiwa. Chat box where Takaedza is saying ZBC News Online does not have a blue badge. How do we go about issues around authenticity in case this is where we have bogus accounts?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I've just seen that one. Now, that is what I was talking about. Where the account, you still need to do a little bit more. One that is ZBC News Online, and there's an underscore just after the last letter. So it's very difficult to see. And I've seen people picking those tweets from purportedly coming from ZBC News. Now, in terms of authenticity, even if one is a blue badge, you still need to find account. You still need to go to their website, because often they don't post something on Twitter without it being on website. Or you can go to the sister or like-minded organizations like Herald, Chronicle. They often post those things at the same time, or you would find something similar there that will give you a better idea of then whether what you're going to pick is something that is worth pursuing. So in terms of bogus accounts, the other thing that you also need to remember as a content creator is to actually list down. You go on Twitter, because like I said, I'm going to type here the difference between the official ZBC News. I hope you're going to see it. And then this is the parody. If you go online today, you'll see the parody. It's an underscore like this. It's very difficult to see, especially on Twitter, because they actually take the profile picture, they take literally almost everything from the original account. And then because you cannot have two handles that are similar, they just put a little variation there. And then you need to be very observant to check out. And then, of course, the nature of the content tells you that these people, this is suspicious. ZBC cannot be posting this. Herald cannot be posting this. Newsday cannot be posting this. Then also the other thing, like I said, you still need to go, sorry. Vivian, can you assist me with just getting the 2 handles of ZBC that I put so that everyone can see them and see the little difference?
Okay, are you sharing your screen?
No, I'm not sharing my screen.
Okay, you want me to check for them and then share the screen?
Did you see the what I sent to the chat box?
Okay, not yet, sorry.
So if you can just get
Okay,
everyone
yeah.
to be able to see it in their
Let
chat.
me open the. So the first one, this is the authentic one.
Yes. And the second one is the one that is fake. So it's very difficult to see just upon get purportedly run by WinkyD online. There's also an in underscore, and I've seen people posting saying that WinkyD has spoken about this, he has spoken about this. I would go to the original account, yeah, WinkyD, because in my list of accounts, I always say you look at all the accounts and then you list them down, the real handles, so that you don't get to follow the fake accounts without knowing it.
Okay, so
Now,
I'm now sharing the ZBC
yeah.
authentic one.
Yes. So you can see it's ZBC News Online, and it's got 37.1 thousand tweets, right? That's what I was talking about. The consistence of posting 2.24. Now, can you check out the one that has got an underscore?
Okay.
So that we can is you can see I'm sure you can also see the one that is popping up that's saying at zbc.zw. You see that one with an underscore.
Yes.
Now you see they have the same they've put up they've removed it. Is it your network or they don't have a profile picture?
No, it's the network, it's still loading.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure they have the same profile picture as the original ZBC. Now look at the followers, 1,643 followers. And they've actually been tweeting a lot, 2,000, you see, it's pretty much the same, except that underscore. Now, because as a journalist, you need to have to look at the red flag, 1,643 followers. Now, can you scroll up a little bit to check their last tweet, also to illustrate the nature of the language? You see. Now, can you go up a little? Because this one, they just picked a story that is actually, they pick the real news and then they mix it with now, yeah, you see, can you yeah, can you just stop there? Can you just stop there? ZBC, please report any of these individuals to your, okay, let's listen to the sentence. Please report any of those individuals to your report police station. That is actually incorrect English. That is another red flag, the nature of the language, but also you may actually pick up and say ZBC is calling on people who are dancing on top of cars to report to the police, but you would have picked from the wrong account. Now, Vivian, can you scroll down to the, oh yes, I'm able to do that. Now, do we all see where it says trending in Zimbabwe? Now, that is where you can get an idea of what are the news topics that are happening. There's Grace, I don't know what that is about, but if you click there, you're able to see what is happening. Is it Grace Mugabe? Is it some Grace Ministries or what? And then you go down, free Jacob Mgarifumi. There's certainly something that is happening about Jacob Mgarifumi. Either he's appearing in court or his bail hearing is going on. So that actually gives you an idea. Can you stop? Can you remove the right click? Because I want to show also who is tweeting about that. That's the beauty about Twitter. And then are tweeting about this. Now, David Coulthard is a politician. He's someone who's also a voice of authority. Reston Baya is someone who has been in the art industry, film industry for a very long time, a very reputable person. So you'd find out this is a very interesting topic, and then you would go there. You see what Coulthard is saying, what Reston is saying, what others are saying. Now this will give you an idea of what is really happening. Now, because you then get an idea as a content creator, you then, like I said, need to do a little more. So now we talked about who do you follow, what do you look for, and then we then say what do you do about it. Now what you do about it is what really is important. Now let me just pose the question. Okay, some Nokupila Nkala is posted something on chat box. He says you can online papers such as Chronicle Herald Online, which will be having bylines for almost all of their stories. That is very correct. You look at reputable media houses. What are they saying? That's why you see when they say, I haven't seen it on Herald. But again, let's be cognizant of the fact that as content creators, we just don't need to be the followers. So we still come back to what do you do about it? You see Jacob Mugari freeing Jacob Mugari from. I just want one person to contribute verbally what they would do about it with that free Jacob Mugari from trending on Twitter. Let's say they want to create content out of it, just out of interest. Someone who can raise their hand and then verbally make a contribution.
Yes, I've unmuted. Okay, I've asked Levi to unmute. Are you able to unmute, Levi?
I'm not. I don't see the button where.
Okay, no, I've unmuted Levi.
I can. Okay, you can.
Hello. Hello, Levi.
Go ahead.
There's someone else whom I've asked to unmute. Unfortunately, we can only recognize you by the digits for your phone. Please do make your contribution. We are failing to hear Levi. Hello. Hello, Levi.
Hello?
Yes, we can now hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hello? Maybe as a way around, maybe to verify whatever is happening around the issue for example, the Jacob Ngarivume issue, I would maybe find out who their lawyer is and get a little background about what is happening to him, if it is a court case, whether they are going to court, whether they are in remand, or whether they are out on bail. Maybe a lawyer could shed some light over the case that will be trending.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that is
there's
a bit.
also,
Yeah, someone else can make another contribution.
there is someone whom I'm trying to ask to unmute. They have their hand raised, but unfortunately, I think they are not. It's either they are having connection challenges, or maybe it's an old hand or something.
Contribution. Okay, so I can then.
Sorry, there is a response on the chat box. From Nogupila, who says you can also verify social media content by checking with online papers such as Chronicle, Herald Online, which will be having bylines for almost all their stories.
Yeah, that is a very critical point. And like Levi said, you might just want to check with the people's lawyers. But what if it go? Because one of our roles as content creators is to be the first with the story. So now, here we are running against speed versus accuracy. Are you going to be the first and the accurate? Now, that also goes back to what I spoke about. Who do you follow? Now, if you have noted, the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, for example, they do a lot of work in updating on the ongoing at the court. So you are likely to check at ZLHR lawyers on Twitter. They will likely have the latest update on what is happening to Jacob in the event that you don't get hold of the lawyer. Because let's also remember that the same lawyer that you are trying to get hold of is the same lawyer that is also getting calls from everyone, the same lawyer that is also in the process of them. So it also goes back to who do you, for example, lawyers. They're often.
Sorry, Tapia, we can't hear you. Hello.
But like I said before, you got that content. So that your content, and then also the issue of corroboration. Okay. Yes. Can you?
You are breaking off. Hello, Tapia, your connection is a bit unstable. Hello. Yes, please continue. We had lost you there.
Okay, can I just? Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, no, that's fine. Yes. Sorry, colleagues, you know how it is with internet and connectivity. Hello, Tapia.
Yes, yes.
Oh yes, your connection is a bit unstable.
Hello.
Hello, we can now hear you.
I was saying that when it comes to verification, you can always use the same platforms to verify, but that depends on who you follow. if you follow someone who is credible, then you're likely to to be able to pick credible content. But now let's look at now we need to cascade down to our community level.
Sorry, Tapio, maybe you can log out and in again because your connectivity is a bit unstable.
Because it often trends at national level.
Hello, Tapio, maybe you can try to log out and in again.
Okay, can you hear me a little bit?
Yeah, we can now hear you.
Because I wanted, yeah, whilst I try to sort out my network, I just want to pose the question.
Maybe you can type it in the chat box.
Now cascading down to its national level, how would you use?
Hello.
Yes, I'm typing in.
Okay, great. Please do type in so that you log out and in again.
Yeah, so I've just sent the question, how do you use online platforms to gather content within your particular community? Because we're now cascading down to the community.
So we'll just wait for you to log in again.
Yes.
Sorry, Yokai, the question is, how would you use online platform community? Let me just copy and paste it. Yeah, that's the question. How would you use online platforms to gather content within your particular community? I have pasted the question on the chat box. How would you use online platforms to gather content within your particular community? Our trainer is back, so I'll just quickly read some of the responses that are on the chat box. We can use social media for sending our stories to our particular communities. And Crispin says most communities have online platforms that they use, e.g. WhatsApp, chat groups, and Facebook pages or Twitter. Usually first-hand information is usually posted there, then what is left is to verify. And then Stambuli says a content creator is to be a member of a number of different community groups on different platforms. And when there is an issue raised that can be followed up on, then they can now share the authenticated news. And vice versa. And then Trevor says to verify news. Nogupila says use social media platforms to get tip-offs about certain things happening in my community. E.g., I do follow local WhatsApp group chats such as residents. Then Levi says, first, the platform is to be a recognized entity, which means the content hunters have a duty to unpack their identity, get accepted, and prove that they are worth following. Then Trevor again says, by getting, for example, pictures sent via WhatsApp, audios confirming it or denying it. Then, Pila says, I use social media platforms to get tip-offs about certain things happening in my community, e.g., I do follow, okay, that's what I've reread the same response. Tongai says, you follow local prominent people and district administrators, council technocrats, councillors, and community leaders on Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, chat. Wadzanai says, follow the community influencers on their social media and see the contributions of their followers. Create WhatsApp groups for various demographics in our community, the youth, widows, informal traders, etc., and generate information pertaining to them. Also create a platform for generation of solutions to common problems. She also says conduct online focus group meetings to deliberate on specific issues. Yokai says online platforms gives updates on new happenings of our localities. It is important to join groups where information is posted. E.g. in Kariba, residents created a group on behalf of Parks and Wildlife Department and added responsible persons. As a local journalist, one has to go through messages and do follow-ups to verify facts, then write on and discuss the topic. Then Dennis Ongom says to bring people together, save time and free your editorial team to focus on content creation. That's Dennis from Uganda. And then in rural areas, we go to members of the communities such as chiefs and others. I'm not sure, Tapua, if you want me also to unmute two participants who there is Manelis, I see your hand is raised. Do you want to make a contribution?
Hello?
Yes, Manelis.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I just wanted to know, how can we involve the community in the development of stories?
Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm sure Tapua is taking note of that question. How can we involve community members in the development of stories? And then there is also Techno Cover 3A. Please do make your contribution. Unfortunately, I can't recognize you by name, but just the gadget. Please make your contribution. Hello, Techno. So maybe Tapua, you can also respond to the question that has been raised. Unfortunately, Techno is not able to. Okay, there's another Huawei who has raised their hand. Please go ahead with your contribution. I'm asking that you unmute. You need to unmute. Yeah, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Oh,
Yes, we
all right.
can
So
hear you.
I was saying, basically, my name is Nyasha Zashindoro from Neanda Radio. So create a content book. You can create a page where I come from Rutenga. So or a Facebook page, residents, they can just post pictures, their stories. Then as a journalist, it's know your job to do follow-ups, check out, then you check, you verify stories with the residents. You can actually come up with good stories about families or anything. So it's all about creating a launch pad on which stories can come in. Because you cannot wait for stories to look for you, but you need to create a platform to which residents or even people with stories can actually post. Then you do a follow-ups and you see how to create a good content from that.
Tapio, over to you. Hello, Tapio. Tapio can hear us, but we can't hear him. So I'm not sure if there's anyone who would want to also respond to the question on how you can involve community members in content creation. Nonhlanhla, I'm recognizing you and I'm asking you to unmute. Please do go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think like what the previous speaker said, I think Ngumanelis, it's all about creating a platform that members of the community can easily access. I think as a community, as community radios or as community media initiatives, we have to bear in mind that or keep in we create should be easily accessible by the community members, the residents, and also they mustn't be very complicated. So maybe starting with something like a WhatsApp group would be much easier, because you find some people maybe in remote areas like maybe Ekwanda or Plumtree, you know, Emakaya, Plumtree, they may not have access to very good internet to go on Facebook, or it may sound a bit too complicated for them to go on Facebook, or let alone to go on Twitter. So maybe if we can, you know, a platform like WhatsApp is I think it's a bit more accessible and all that. And maybe we can also have something to do with text messages, the good old text message. You distribute your numbers so that when people have a way of any send messages to that, more like an open line thing, platform, but is in text message format. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nonhlanhla, for that
Vivian?
contribution. Thank you, Tapio. You're back.
It's Mlondolozi.
Okay, yes, Mlondolozi.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I think the other issue that I wanted to raise is managing to actually intertwine our offline communication and our online communication when we are working as community media or as community radio stations. For instance, we have to use, if it's in a rural setting, take advantage of issues like the village head meetings, the health committee meetings, for instance, during this time of COVID-19. Then acquaint yourself with your sources during those meetings offline, such that even when
thank you. So
when you engage with them online, it doesn't become an issue.
Thank you, Mlondolozi, for that contribution. Malvin Taka.
Morning, how are you?
We are good. How are you? Kindly go ahead.
Okay, I think I have put my submission on the chat board. But generally, especially in our communities, there's a lot of activities which are happening, like issues to do with maybe eviction, mining activities, service delivery. So we sometimes use social media platforms like the simple WhatsApp chat groups. In those chat groups, that's when we develop, or, you know?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stambuli, you can go ahead. Sorry, we have lost Malvin.
Okay, thank you, Madam Viv.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I think as a content, you have people whom you trust so well that whenever there is an issue that comes up in their area of jurisdiction, you can always contact them and verify news with them, so that you creditable news. So that's how also you can also involve the community in the content that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stambuli, for that input. I'm sure, Tapua, you heard what was said by the contributors. You can go ahead and take over. Hello, Tapua. Yes, Manelisa, I see you have raised your hand. I recognize your hand. You can unmute.
Okay.
You can, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to know, how can community their presenters to become radio personalities, not only presenters, but people who are trusted with the information that they are providing to the community?
Thank you so much. Lodolozi, maybe you can come in. How can community radio stations ensure that their presenters are trusted and communities can easily relay or get information from them? Hello, Mlondolozi.
Hello.
Yes, there's a question on how community radios can ensure that their presenters are trusted in the community and can easily be points of reference and oh, I'm sure you heard the question.
Yes, yes. So I think one of the major issues that you have to do as a community radio station is to actually, depending on your staff, to specialize, right? You have people that are specific to particular diaries, that you assign to particular diaries, such that they cultivate their relationship with their sources. That way, it makes it easier for them to actually get information in a much faster and in a much quicker way. Say it's at a local clinic, there is a COVID-19 case, and you have a reporter who has got sources that are based within that particular community, that are based within that particular hospital. It's easier for you to confirm with them than to say you have never covered a whole story and you want to go to them and you want to confirm such sensitive information. You may not get that information. But if you cultivate a culture of interacting with your sources, even outside your normal work, it makes it easier for them to give you information. I'm sure you are answered.
Yeah, so maybe Tapua, you can take over.
Okay, yes, I hope now I can be, you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so now this is getting very interesting because now we're getting to the crux of the issue where we're saying as a community, what instruments are there within our community? So that also answers that question, how can we get community involved, right? So these are some of the tools that is also we have all discussed that can be used and I like Londolo's contribution that we need to intertwine offline and online platforms because these two can never be separated for the simple reason that they corroborate each other. For example, what you are saying, what this way to WhatsApp, so you find out these things corroborate each other. So now this is one of the ways that we can use. In Northlands, I've talked about WhatsApp groups. These are very critical because they are more closed and they are more local. Because in our communities, we are more local. We know the head of the police. We are in good relationships with the person who manages probably the district office. So we can be able to even have those people in a WhatsApp group. And the beauty about a WhatsApp group is that sometimes people can then come to your inbox and say, I cannot say this in the group, but this is what is happening. Can you do something about it? Or can you follow up on it? So that's the beauty about WhatsApp groups. Then the second thing, um, local Facebook pages and local Facebook groups. Facebook groups, the beauty about them as well, more than the Facebook pages, is that they are more like a discussion platform. They are less like a platform where you can actually discuss. So if you have localized Facebook groups, then the next aspect is the issue of crowdsourcing. That is one very important aspect. For example, your community radio has got a page on Facebook, on Twitter. You just ask them, what is, for example, the issues to do with maybe there is an accident that has happened. You can just ask them, people on Facebook, anyone witnessed an accident? If so, may you kindly, because these people trust you, they follow you, and they believe that you are a media house that serves them. So they will gladly give you information. And then crowdsourcing also involves the issue that I want to talk about, which I hope even when you speak to the management, they'll understand. Having a hotline. Having a hotline is very important for a community platform. A hotline that is basic WhatsApp and text capacity. So when you have a hotline, this is where people send in tip-offs. I just want to give you an example. One of these days, I used my phone for a radio program that we're doing, um, a local radio program. Up to this day, I still get people giving me news tips and other things. But that was for just one program. So that's how powerful a hotline can be, because people trust, especially in local communities. And sometimes because our communities are not so open, where a person can be able to say, there's corruption happening there, they would rather say it to a platform where they believe they are communicating to one person. So using WhatsApp as a hotline platform is a very important thing, because people then can trust that I'm sending to right to that person. Then the other aspect that I want us to talk about is the issue of setting the agenda within the community, because all along we've been, but in communities we have a lot of powerful stories that are happening, and the stories that we need to tell that will also inform even the national discourse. um, we now need to be able to set an agenda. So using those platforms, we pose questions, we pose issues, we put issues across. For example, the issue of COVID-19, you just go on your page and say, what has been your fears since COVID-19 started? You get people saying, you know what, I stopped going to fetch water in the morning because there will be a lot of people at the borehole. Now you know that there's a water problem. Now we are going deeper into the community issues. So you can be able to shape an agenda more than just ask people what has happened, but you can actually ask people to give you their views. And that way you can also be able to do it within, because one of the aspects that is very critical in community, and not often is there a car to go out and get you news there. So sometimes using those resources that we have within us, that is the people out there who can tell us the stories from wherever they are. So now I wanted to go into the issues of deeper into the issues of verification, in as far as image verification is concerned, in as far as video verification is concerned. I don't know if we can go into that in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then with guidance from Vivian, we then would want to, before we break, we would want to ask participants, because we are going into, we hope to develop an online content strategy or an online content plan that you can use. So I would want to also question session. I don't know if you can guide me on that one, Vivian.
Thanks, Tapiwa. That sounds good, because I know that it's now 4:03, and it's prudent that when we are doing these online trainings, where necessary, we break. So we had anticipated that the first session would run from 10 until 12, and then the second session from 2. So yeah, possibly you can pose the questions, which we will attend to in the afternoon session, which starts at 2 Central African time. But before that, there is a hand by Dominion. So maybe can I recognize him to make his contribution? There are actually 3 hands that have been raised.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's people who want to ask questions to what you have stated. Dominion, you can go ahead with your contribution. Hello, Dominion. Okay, there is another hand from IM2P2. You can go ahead. I've asked that you unmute.